What's up, people? What's up with it? Sorry about that delay. Having Wi-Fi issues over here at this hotel. Um, I'm gonna call them out. The Hampton Inn, supposed to be a nice hotel, but fighting with the Wi-Fi. But anyway, I'm on tap. It's the Diehard Fan Show, brought to you by yours truly, the People's Coach Cornelius Cole. We're about to get into it now. Is Things have been happening lately. The John Morant thing has been resolved real quick, so I'm gonna start there with the whole John Morant, having the weapon in the club or whatever, and taking some time off, and now it's become a suspension. And the NBA decided to turn it into an 8 game suspension, which he already was out games. So the 6 games that he was going to miss, plus 2 more games, he'll be eligible to play Monday. But you know, the Grizzlies, they 3-2 without him. Like they playing eye ball without him. Good, a lot of games tonight. Uh, Good games tonight. I'm traveling late tonight, so I'll miss the late games. Action today is really um, crazy as far as thinking about John Moran, thinking about Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, he gonna be piloting the Jets. He move, man. Um, you know, for me, it's about time. It seemed like Green Bay finally put their foot down and just said, "Look here, man, it's over with. We done with it. We moving on to Jordan Love, which all the speculation was if Aaron Rodgers would have stayed, then Jordan Love would have asked for a trade. Question: where was Jordan Love gonna go? Not a single place, people. Nobody's seen his body of work to, what was he gonna do? Back up somewhere, something like that. So the Jordan Love, it was no pressure. It was just all about what they were gonna do with Aaron Rodgers, and apparently they ready to move on. Which how can you blame them? It's time to move on. Um, you know, they did the song and dance long enough. The Jets, all the expectations are of course jacked up high because they, like the last time they had a high profile quarterback such as Aaron Rodgers was Brett Favre years ago. So, and he left Green Bay. So, both of them making that move to the Jets. Maybe Aaron Rodgers, a fresh start for Aaron Rodgers will change things around from last season that he had. And maybe he'll be able to get over the hump. But I think it's too much competition in the AFC. Um, so we'll have to wait and see what Aaron Rodgers is able to do. He got one of his buddies hired over there already, Alan Lazard. He got picked up by the Jets. He wanted Mercedes Lewis and Randall Cobb, I think. He wanted just certain people, his little traveling crew, but I don't think he's gonna get all those people. Um, but those are the like two of the biggest stories that be swirling around. Besides March Madness, it's that time. It's March Madness. First game already started tonight as far as the play-in to the team that's gonna go get beat down by Purdue, the number 1 overall seed. I want to say is Fair Dickinson. I never heard of that school in my life. Fair Dickinson. No disrespect to Fair Dickinson. I just never heard of you on them. I would have to look you up to see where you are. But they playing against TSU right now as we speak. Um, to see if who gets that spot. Um, that last seed. But there's also another game. Um, Nevada and Arizona State, I believe, or Nevada and Arizona. Nevada playing somebody to try to get in right now. I would have to look again. Sorry, I'm a little bit off kilter after dealing with this Wi-Fi, but no excuses. The show goes on, life goes on. But uh, that's pretty cool. 2 11s playing against each other to see who gets to play a fifth seed in that tournament. So lots of action, NFL action, lots of movement, different people. But one of the biggest moves, Smith Schuster is taking his game to New England. So New England now has a decent receiver. I'm not gonna say a great receiver, but Smith Schuster didn't play bad for. He just won a Super Bowl. So he gonna fit right in with what Bill Belichick expects expects because Bill Belichick, Super Bowl master as far. So um, I just look at it like at least they trying to get some weapons for Mac Jones. Um, that's a good piece. Maybe they'll pull a couple of moves. Like they try to do the moves are now just being made, different things happening. Back to the Aaron Rodgers thing real quick. Um, he's saying that the only thing that's holding him up, he said he made his decision Friday, but what's holding him up is, compensation or whatever. What is going to house uh, um, the Jets to get him? Um, and that could mess up a deal. Still no movement on the Lamar front. So let that sink in, people. Lamar gambling on himself, and he gonna get paid somewhere. But I think he got a little bit a while ago before teams start making him offers or something. But maybe he'll get an offer. Maybe he won't. Um, it's kind of rough. And on my Cowboy front, since I'm a diehard fan, and it's a diehard fan, so on my Cowboy front, Zeke out of there, which I think we all expected that Zeke been released. Who knows what they gonna do? They might come back around and sign him to a smaller contract later, or they might or end Zeke in Dallas. Period. Either way, right now he been released. They didn't restructure some contracts. Demarcus Lawrence contract was restructured. They trying to make moves to have some money to be able to get some other pieces that they need, and they just picked up Stephon Gilmore from the Colts, and I think that that's going to be a good piece to play with Trayvon Diggs on the other side of Trayvon Diggs. Gilmore, in my opinion, probably done lost a step. He's been in the league a while, but he bring that Super Bowl pedigree the Dallas Cowboys have currently, that's on the current, so he brings something a little bit different. But he has been playing for the, so that goes to show that you never know. Hopefully, losing didn't rub off on him, and he ready to play. Because you remember, he was one of the best cornerbacks. I still think he got a little bit in the tank that he can give. So we didn't get Jalen Ramsey, big deal. We move on and we get what we can. But I'm more interested when I talk Dallas Cowboys. I'm more interested on how we gonna put it all together. Hoopla around the coaches, all the talk about us being America's team. When we just gonna put everything together and have a good showing, a decent showing. Uh, NFC Championship game, great game or something. Losing early in the playoff always leave a bad taste. And then when we gonna get over the humps? That's my question for the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, you can move all the pieces. It's good that we found a way to keep Van. I'm a fan of Van Der Esch, even though his health wise sometimes I take him off his game. But he's been doing this thing here lately, so. And when he does play, he go crazy. So I kind of like Van Der Esch, keeping the Van Der Esch and holding some of that defensive pieces and adding versus subtracting a lot of different pieces. But it's still more moves to be made. So you can sit back and watch and see what could happen with the different moves. But um, other big NFL news. When I go to look at some of the other moves, the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm puzzled. Slay gone. They releasing Slay and Hargrave, whatever. He just signed with another team. I mean, the Eagles, you talk about breaking up the band real quick, coming off a Super Bowl loss. It's hard to keep teams together with free agency. I understand that. But you're losing a lot of core pieces, and a lot of the core pieces off the defensive end mainly. But then look, Miles Sanders, he out the door, he gone. So it's like, what's really going on in Philly right now? A lot of changes being made for a team that just went to the Super Bowl. I don't know. I would try to keep some of those pieces because they were dominant. Like they was like other than losing in the Super Bowl most of the season, they was the most dominant team last year, uh, performance wise, up until Hurts got hurt, Hurts got injured or whatever. But they was doing their thing. I don't understand how you just let so many pieces get from you. But maybe they got a master plan. Maybe they have, I think, a couple, maybe one or two, maybe at least two first round picks or something. So maybe they gonna do something huge with first their defense was West. They set record for the sacks, but they losing interior defensive linemen. How are they going to replace what they losing? They're not the only ones that losing. In my opinion, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man, what y'all doing? They signed Baker Mayfield. Come on, man. Like, is he a projected starter or you got a master? You got another playing quarter? I don't know. Jimmy Garoppolo to the Raiders. I mean, that's a good move for Jimmy. Good move for the Raiders, in my opinion. They got a quarterback that could, that's better than what they had. But I know it's hard to fill the goat's shoes. I mean, you lost, and so you go get Baker Mayfield. I don't know. The Todd Bowl regime. I said that earlier, a couple of shows ago or something. But the Todd Bowles regime in Buffalo, I mean, in Tampa Bay, don't really look that good. It's not impressive to me. Um, it's really lacking. I don't know, firepower. Really, it's really lacking something good. Um, I don't, last year, first round exit in the playoffs, wild card exit. They looked terrible most of the season, and then you go get Baker Mayfield. I'm not gonna knock Baker Mayfield because I've done it enough, and everybody has. But he looked all right for the Rams, But it's easy to say you look all right on a team that's mediocre. But the expectation for the Tampa Bay Bucks still got to be through the roof. Why else would you transition the way that you did, man? If y'all was gonna do that, y'all should have kept Bruce Arians on the sidelines, man. I mean, I know Todd Bowles deserve a chance, but it don't look like y'all giving them anything to work with, anything to fight with. I mean, like the vote out of there. You got wide receivers and stuff. I just think you need somebody better than a Baker Mayfield. But who knows? Baker Mayfield may surprise. He may, and one of the biggest things that happened, man, is you was expecting somebody to make a move, but the Bears said we riding with Justin Fields so they can squash all that talk um, about getting rid of the guy, about getting another quarterback and trading him. They decided to keep him and trade they first overall pick in the draft to the Panthers. Now the Carolina Panthers. Which quarterback they gonna take? C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, Levitz. I mean, I'm leaning towards. I'm putting my money on Bryce Young. I'm gonna say they go in Bryce Young. Um, I just feel like either one of those quarterbacks upgrade from everything that they had, even as rookies. You don't know what these rookies gonna do when they come into the league, but you got to remember they coming off of Sam Darnold, who didn't play that bad. When he did play, but he wasn't that great neither. Like certain moves don't really move it for me. But and they had Baker Mayfield, of course. Mid season got rid of him. But overall, what I look at for the Panthers is getting a quarterback that can play. But they lost DJ Moore. They lost a receiver. They could have helped the quarterback out. So, what kind of plans do they have for receivers? Doing anything with receivers? Uh, because even though they were just a game away, and I thought that was all Wilkes, but who knows what Reich's plans is? Frank Reich. Um, he been known to do his thing as a head coach, so he could probably figure out better what direction they going in with whatever pieces he get. But I still think it's an uphill thing, and I don't know what teams are doing. Like Atlanta, I talked about that before. Said they wasn't going to go after Lamar Jackson. Don't know why not. You got nothing to lose. You see what the Jets did. The Jets waited and waited and waited, and they got their man. You might not get Lamar Jackson, but at least it seemed, at least make the fans seem like you trying. Make them seem like you're trying to make a team better. Like what? It's been a while since we talked about ATL being in the playoffs or talked about ATL doing anything. But it was time for the Matt Ryan and Julio Jones. All that after all them gone. It was time to reset, restart, rebuild, get yourself right. But now, well, what are your expectations? Still in the rebuild phase? I mean, what are you doing? Are you riding on Desmond Ritter? Which why not give him a shot? You gave Mariota a shot. I was one of those that was like happy for the fact that Mariota got another shot, but we saw that he just done it. Other moves that have been made. Jacoby Brissett just signed. Um, so him leaving Cleveland, and going to the Commanders. The Commanders are all people, man. That is that's funny to me. Like the Jacoby. I mean, I get it. You got Eric Bieniemy now as offensive coordinator. I think that's a real good move for the Commanders. But I think the Commanders are trying to compete now. I'm not saying they weren't trying to compete before, but I think they're trying to compete now. Now that they see that the Eagles, the Cowboys are decent, the Giants are decent. I think they're trying to compete, which the Giants just picked up Waller. Move for them at tight end. Somebody that Dame Davis is familiar with.
He might be a safety blanket. He might be open, um, a little bit more frequently than what Daniel Jones had before. Man, Daniel Jones ain't really had much. He ain't really had much on the game as far as receiving wise. But that's a good start. It seemed like all these teams are up. The Commanders trying to get in the fight. Sam Howell predicted as the starter, but picking up Jacoby Brissett, that's not a bad pickup to me if you're looking at a backup. Um, Jacoby had an all right start, some starts last year, but he was playing for Cleveland. Um, and going to the Commanders, my problem with the Commanders is I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, so I don't ever want to see them rise. Like, to be honest, you got to think the NFC East, a little bit of history. The NFC East was once tough, and then they started calling them the NFC least. And then this past season they proved to be tough again. But you got to remember, like '80s, mid to late '80s, '90s, well, 80s and '90s. That was the team. I mean, that was a division. Those teams stayed together even when they made moves, minus the Arizona Cardinals. Somehow the Arizona Cardinals used to be in the East. I don't know. They were St. Louis Cardinals, but anyway, somehow they used to be in the East. Which, all right, it's all right. But when you think about it, um, when they moved, when they shifted the divisions, they kept that division pretty much together, the core of the teams. And those teams had the most, they have all of those. They have more Super Bowls collectively than any other division. So you really look at, hey, the NFC East, they back to fighting, and it's good to see, Washington, they won by, they was winning in the 80s. The Giants won a couple they won one in 80, then 90. Like it's a lot of Super Bowls. Cowboys, of course, won three in the 90s. So you're looking at um, a division that's always been tough. The Eagles, they were the only ones without Super Bowls in that time, but they were always a tough team with, led by Buddy Ryan. Um, they were pretty good. They had the sack master himself, Reggie White. So it was always tough. That division has always been competitive, in my opinion. And it's been one of the divisions, even when they were calling it the least. And the reason why is because when those teams play, when they play each other head to head, it's all out. It's become what we saw briefly with the San Francisco 49ers and the Seattle. Those games had you on the edge of your seat watching every play, and then you throw the Rams into there, and then you say, okay, so now they got something to work with. But it was different than the dominance of the Patriots of the AFC, where they just dominated that division for years and years, and you didn't know, if another team could do anything to break that up. It took Brady leaving for New England to fall off, really. But New England had that in hand. It's sort of like what the Chiefs doing with the AFC West, just dominating. But with the moves that's being made, free agency, I think sometimes it can hurt sometimes it can put teams. We see the difference all the time. I don't know what's going on, but some of the biggest differences, I have, whoa, off a little bit. Um, the differences that I've seen as far as free agency lately, like I was saying, the Eagles, you just teams together long enough to see what they can really do. In the NBA, it's a blessing that the Warriors kept their core, together. as long as they have, even with all the transitioning around their core three, they were core four if you count Iguodala. But Iguodala even left for a little bit and came back, so you can't really count him. But as long as they kept their core, it seemed like all the other pieces, so what? They've just been transitional pieces, and it's like they were still able to build a dynasty in this day and age with what they had. But will we ever see another after the Patriots? Will we ever see another football dynasty quite like it? But then you looking at the Chiefs and you say, well, man, they're off to a good start as far as dynasty wise, as far as playing, as far as making moves. But they just make I don't know, they make moves. Some teams in my mind, and some of these players, some of the decisions of the players, it seems that if I'm a player, unless I'm just going to earn a check, I wouldn't really want to go to certain teams because they're not about winning, and I hate to say it, this is one of them. And my thing is, the Cardinals had a couple of hot years. You know, Larry Fitzgerald, when Kurt Warner got there, but that's because Kurt Warner wanted to win, and it seemed like they wanted to win. Remember when they picked up Carson Palmer? Um, you were like, oh, they turning the corner, they trying to win, they trying to do their thing, and they had a good chances to make Super Bowl runs on a small stretch, but that's just years and years of nothing. And then you see Detroit, which they just lost Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams signed with the Saints. They still got good running backs for Detroit, but I think that was a valuable piece. When you have two or three nowadays with two or three running backs, sure, you in the game. But now they lost one. So what's to come of that? Maybe that move gonna help. But now, last week I was asking what were the Saints gonna look like, with the Alvin Kamara troubles. But now when they got Will, so now they doing all right. They doing all right in that department. Um, but the major implications early on is that everybody's expecting, once the deal is inked and once things are moved, if it goes through or whatever, everybody is expecting the Jets to come. I mean, I don't expect the Jets to come and take over nothing. What people not looking at, I think what people not really paying attention to is the fact that the Jets fell off. We can blame it all on quarterback play, but it's a team game. It's a team game. It's like, they lost their running back. I mean, when you start losing so many pieces, you say, whoa, we gonna fall off. But no, the Jets, I keep saying it, they lost some ridiculous games that's mind-boggling to me, and especially the two games that they lost to the Patriots probably is what separated them from making the playoffs. No matter who the quarterback was, you got to play better than that in those games. I mean, losing games where the other team didn't score no offensive touchdowns says what about your team? Says what about your squad, man? I mean, so you can't put it all on the quarterback. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers gonna make you better. You instantly get better with Aaron Rodgers and Lazard because they already had this connection, and then hooking up with his old quarterback coach, offensive guru guy, Nathaniel Hackett. But all of that stuff being said, and having this team that's so called on the rise or whatever, they got a good defense. They got a good defense. That's evident, but you got to shore up everything else. What I think we tend to forget that special teams is going to be huge. Different things. You watch early on. I'm telling you right now, the Jets won't make the playoffs with Aaron Rodgers. Yep, I'm going out on the limb. I'm that bold. I'm going to say it. They're going to be right where they were before on the outside looking in. The Jets won't make the playoffs with Aaron Rodgers. Then they're going to have to come up with another excuse. And seriously, that's just the way I look at it. Remember when they got Brett Favre? They won, but they still didn't do much. It's going to be the same thing. You're not going to do much. You're not going to do much because you're looking at it. You're going all out, and you put these good pieces in place, and you got a head coach that wants to win. Hey, there's a lot of head coaches that want to win. First, because when he was in Cleveland, you think he didn't want to win? I mean, I'm just saying. You have to put in your work. You have to will this squad, and they're competing. I mean, the Dolphins ain't gonna just roll over. The Bills ain't gonna just play dead. We can say the window closing on the Bills, but that don't mean they're not gonna come back and give it all they got. The Patriots are going to be tougher. Um, I always say that because when you have a mastermind like Bill Belichick, you're gonna be tough. A couple of mistakes are what hindered the Patriots from making a playoff run this past season. So a couple of bonehead plays by players, inexplicable plays, especially the ones so they really I don't know about everybody else, but I'm gonna remember that. But when you start looking at team building and building your rosters and stuff, you're gonna need more than just a quarterback. I think Brady showed you that like you can get a team together, but when the team start falling apart, like look at the Bucks. The Bucks were lazy coming out. Other than the first game of the year, some injuries here and there. But then for the most part, the defense was lazy. They weren't flying around like they were before. Maybe they were tired. Maybe everybody collectively was tired, or maybe everybody was just confused because they were out of place, or maybe they didn't believe in the coaching system they had defensively. Who knows what it was? But and their defense was the biggest part of their team. The offense was all right, but the defense was the thing that carried the Bucks. So you got to think sometimes it's about the players coming to work every day doing what they got to do, but you don't see and then it's also about having good structure at the top. And I don't think that the Bucks really believed in Todd Bowles as the head man. um, as a group, as a whole group, I don't think that they believed in what he stood for as far as a coach. But it was just his first time, so I'm gonna cut him and say that they'll make differences. Same thing with the Jets. I'm gonna cut them a break, but I'm still gonna say my early prediction is they won't make the playoffs. It's too many teams over there. I mean, who you gonna cut? Cincinnati ain't going nowhere. Baltimore, it doesn't matter if they make a deal with Lamar or not. They still gonna be tough because always has a tough team. Baltimore is always gonna be tough defensively. Um, you know, uh, Ain't no pitching shutouts in football anymore. Since everything leans towards offense, but teams that can hold you down. And then you looking at Pittsburgh gonna probably be in the fight. Like Pittsburgh gonna be too many. So you saying that the whole AFC East is only 7 spots in the playoffs. So the whole AFC East makes it, then those other 3 spots, what you're looking at already early on, early prediction, you're looking at it just early outlook. You're looking at the Chiefs, the Bengals, the Ravens. That's 3 teams right there. And then if you count the Bills, the Bills gonna be tough. That's 4 teams right there. And like I said, the Dolphins probably gonna be tough again. That's 5, even though I really don't care for the Dolphins much. But the Dolphins, that's 5 right there. And then so the other 2 spots. So you're saying the Chargers, who I don't have much, I don't have, I already how I feel about their head coach Staley or whatever. I don't have a lot of faith in them, but they are going to be a tough team. Like they are going to play, and then the Broncos with Sean Payton, the expectations are through the roof. It's like, hey, all these teams gonna make it, and so that's why I say the Jets. The Jets, you gonna come up short. You gonna come up short. No matter what. And that's even with a decent record. Even if they finish 10-7, I think they're gonna come up short because I think the AFC is just too packed. It's quarterback heavy. Um, a lot of mostly all the good quarterbacks in the AFC right now. All the top young guns. So Aaron Rodgers going over there to do his thing, but that's cool. But so we'll see how that pans out for the Jets, and then we'll also be looking at um, other moves that we're gonna be watching off season what the Rams decide to do after coming off Super Bowl. See what Matthew Stafford, he say he coming back. He say he want to play, so we're gonna see when he plays or what moves they make in this offseason to boost their roster, man. Because right now they ain't looking that good. It don't look good for the Rams right now. Uh, Last week I told y'all, man, I'm happy about Gino staying with Seattle. Seattle gonna be tough. It's gonna be a lot of tough teams when you start looking at the NFL with the moves that's being made, and then you still got a draft to go through. Still gonna be other free agents moving around everybody in the sweepstakes for the Odell Beckham Jr. The OBJ talks are still going on heavy. So you're gonna see where he lands, see where see what team gets him to come play, and then you're looking at a different, more quarterback shifting or something. Now I'm wondering what Tennessee gonna do. Are they, what are they gonna do? Um, sold, are they sold on the young guy they got? Or are they going to move on, look beyond him and Tannehill? What are their expectations? We know the Colts need something. I mean, it's a lot of teams that need stuff out there. Jonathan Taylor, he somebody to hand him the ball, man. You know, those are the things that are key. Oh, and let me not forget, for Nerd Focus, celebrating St. Patrick's Day. Uh, Nerd Focus is running a special. Is doing a promo for the St. Patrick's Day. Nerd Focus doing a promo for the St. Patrick's Day by using promo code Lucky20 to get 20% off when you buy two or more. That's Nerd Focus, the energy drink. Remember, game right, you ain't tight with Nerd Focus. Remember, that's 20% off by using the promo code Lucky20. Lucky 20 if you buy two or more, you get 20% off. That's Nerd Focus. And while I'm doing my little shout outs, Fancy Lips Cosmetics, check them out at fancylips.com. And don't forget Fam Brand. They got great gear. I rock their gear on the regular. So, Fam Brand, you can check them out at fam.brand on Instagram. For the latest gear, springtime. So I know they got some good units, some good shirts, good combinations of clothing for you out there coming up for the spring and summer. But it's year-round gear. Remember, Fam Brand at fam.brand Instagram. Now, NBA, the Lakers putting on a charge. So I gotta shut my mouth and I gotta say, for one time, I say, don't listen to me. It's normally if you listen to me, but obviously don't listen to me because I don't know what's up with these Lakers. But I did tell y'all, I'm gonna say it again. Anthony Davis can lead a team. I already knew that. I told y'all that, but I'm just surprised that he leading this team. I'm just surprised at how well they playing. They playing much better than what I expected. Maybe the thing is the injury to King James, huh? Maybe that's the key. Now I want them to make the playoffs. Don't get me wrong. I didn't expect them to make the playoffs because of how sorry they were playing. But I want them to make the playoffs. Remember, there's nothing to root against. I root against LeBron. So I'm what they call a LeBron hater or whatever. So hey, he got to be in there in order for me to hate on him. Him not making the playoffs does me no good. So it's one of those where Lakers, man, I'm impressed. I'm impressed, and Pelinka may have saved his job. I know he saved his job. As a matter of fact, like I'm just gonna put it out there. Pelinka with the moves that he made, getting D'Lo, Beasley, and the other cat, I can't remember his name right offhand, but they bringing ball to the table. But the Hachimura, I think the Hachimura move was all right. The Hachimura move really helped them out, and you can see them starting to turn a little bit. But then they playing. But man, give it up for the Lakers. The Lakers, they balling. They on their way up. And Denver, they hit a little slide. Everybody's starting to panic. See, the experts start to panic too quick. First of all, Denver wasn't going anywhere, regardless if they're the number one seed, no matter what seed they are. I already told y'all they ain't going nowhere. It's the Nuggets organization, man. I don't hold it against the Joker. I know the Joker gonna play. I know they're gonna try to ball, but they're just not going nowhere. They're just notorious for losing at some point. So not worried about Denver doing anything major in the playoffs. Win a round or two, maybe even make it to the Western Conference Finals, but they're going home at some point. But my point is they fallen a little bit. They lost 4 in a row, and now it's like, oh, hit the panic button. It's like, no, man. And it's like, yo, it's a long season. It's an 82-game season. So, you lose 4 games in a row. They're going to be all right. But Sacramento is right there, and and look at the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies with the fight back. I mean, I said that the Grizzlies going to need more than Ja. And what did I open my mouth for? Because the others on that team are coming together, and they playing decent ball. They at least playing, right at 500, a little bit above 500 ball with Ja Morant. So I kind of dig what the Grizzlies are doing as far as a team. I didn't see it in them. I didn't know they had it in them. But Baines and company, man, they doing their thing. Baines and Jackson, you know. But Baines, man, I knew he could shoot, but as a leader, like they are, he's stepping up his game as a leader in the absence of a leader. When Ja Morant come back, that should let him be able to work his way back in. I still don't see the Grizzlies going anywhere either. And I'm just gonna put it out there. What the Dallas Mavericks? I don't know what they're doing. Doncic out, thigh injuries. Kyrie hurt foot. I don't know. They sitting their players. They losing games. Not that they were tearing up the league. Not that they were burning up the league with them playing. You know, with those two guys playing. But I'm just saying the Mavericks. I don't know. It seemed like they ain't that enthusiastic about trying to get back to the Western Conference Finals or get in the hunt of the playoffs even or whatever's going on because teams are doing their thing. Not T-Wolves. I keep giving them credit, and every time I give them credit, it seems like they play good one night, they play bad another. They play all right. I mean, no matter what they doing, they right there. They just slipped a little bit. Like I said, the Lakers gaining on those teams. I told you I'm still rooting for the Clippers. I'm not giving up on the Clippers. They struggled, lost 5. Now they done won like 3 or 4 in a row. So they looking all right. They learned how to play with Russell Westbrook because the best way that Ty Lue has figured out for his players to play with Russell Westbrook is to sit his behind down when he started turning the ball over. Sit him down. Hey, when he started getting too careless with the rock, hey, it's time for you to come over here and have a seat and not playing him in stretches of when the game is really crucial when they trying to make a comeback when they trying to. I think it helps him a bit, and I think Russell really figuring out his role. I think he figured out that each time like okay, I can work with this, and so he's been a little somewhat effective in the game, and that's pretty good. But it's not all about Russell Westbrook to me. To me, it's about Kawhi and Paul George. Paul George, man, when he really lightened them up, and Kawhi, man, um, you know, um, I was. I know Kevin Durant just got hurt, which I was gonna go there. I was gonna go to Phoenix next, but Kevin Durant getting hurt during warmups, crazy freak injury. It happens, but I was gonna say in terms of Leonard, um, as far as a perimeter player, uh, is he not second to Kevin Durant as how efficient and effective he can be when he's on, when he's when he tuned into the game? It just seemed like mid-range jumper, 3-point shot, dunks at the rim. It just seemed like whatever Kawhi want to do with the rock, he can do it. Whenever he feel like it, and his strength, his upper body strength is unbelievable. He got big hands or whatever, but it's not even that. It's like in his fundamentals, the fundamentals that he brings to the game as far as the rebounding, the steals, and at times, that being that pest, being that pest on defense, being real up in your face on defense and stuff. Those things are key, but I still don't, I'm still thinking the Clippers got a little bit more to prove before the season is out to really, show where it's at. You can't just all turn it up. Speaking of turning it up, the Warriors, man, they struggle. They're gonna struggle all the way down. Some of these teams gonna have to be in the play-in. Everybody not gonna make it. 1 through 6 you're safe. 7 through 10 play-in. So some of these teams gonna be in play-in. And what I'm looking at is the Warriors probably go end up being in the play-in. And the last time they was in the play-in, it was they didn't make it. Because even with Steph shooting lights out, they struggling. They struggling on the road, especially. Everybody know that they ain't got. I said it last week. They ain't good on the road. But then shifting a little bit, you looking at the Western Conference at all these teams that's going to be fighting to try to solidify the final 8 in the playoffs. You can't forget OKC playing decent. They gonna come up short. certain teams, even though they looking all right now, I'm still disappointed in Portland. No matter what Dame does, they just ain't good. The team just ain't good. I'm not gonna even blame Chauncey Billups. You just don't have enough talent in my mind for Portland. You just don't have enough talent around Dame. Um, Not the first time that this happened, but if you saw when the Pelicans played the Trailblazers, CJ McCollum got a point to prove. You know, I kind of like that. He got a little chip on his shoulder, but at the same time, Dame. Now Dame defending his loyalty to the Portland Trailblazers, man. Since that made news, I'm gonna touch it a little bit, but it's not really a big deal to me because people gonna feel how they feel. Disappointed in the NBA with a ring. Now everything's a culture now. Look, the name of the game. How many times can I say it? I'm the people's coach, people. How many times can I say it? It's about championships. Dame, what game are you playing that's not about championships? At the end of it, it's about winning the ring, hoisting the trophy. It's about the team celebrating victory. So get off that. I don't know. He need to just get off that gas, in my opinion, as far as talking about what about all the other things in the game. Okay, as a diehard fan of the game, yes, we want to be entertained. We want to see you put up points. We want to see you shoot the lights out. We want to see block shots. We want to see last second steals. We want to see the back and forth. We want to see all that. As a diehard fan, we want to see champions too. That's what the game is about. It's about winning championships. I mean, if anything, I would have preferred if he just would have said, "Hey, man, I'm loyal to what I'm loyal to," and leave it at that. That sounds more epic or great to me, other than trying to say, "Oh, I don't like. Oh, the NBA is not what you know." Why you gonna blame the NBA for your choices, bro? You chose to stay in Portland, ring chase. That's fine. Now, if you'd have said, "I'm not a ring chaser. I'm just here to play ball or whatever, it is what it is." But at the same time, you cannot tell me it's about winning. It's about taking your team there, and you supposed to be the leader of the Portland Trailblazers. If I'm a teammate of Dame Lil right now, I'm more like, man, what you talking about? Like, man, so you ain't here to win, bro? Like, I mean, even though, like I said, they don't have the most talent or whatever, the name of the game is about winning. And most of all, I would be worried if I'm the coach. Hey, man, hey, we playing to win. Hit them with the Herm Edwards. You played to win the game, right? Ain't that what it is? You play to win the game. Like that's what it's supposed to be about, Dame. So all that talk about whatever is like, like I said, if you loyal to whatever, that's fine. He ain't the first person that's been loyal, to a squad. Stockton played forever for the Utah Jazz. Kobe played forever for the Lakers. Certain people stay in uniform. Reggie Miller in Indiana, and he never won anything, but he's still a legend in the game. So I totally understand I understand, Dame, but you can't tell me that Reggie Miller wasn't trying to win when he stepped on the court. He led his teams into some good playoff battles. That's all you could ask for. They gave it all they had. That's what you're supposed to be saying, Dame. Is that, hey, we gonna give it all we got every time. But no, instead you talking about, oh, I don't like this ring culture. Man, stop it. Stop it. It has no validity to me, a diehard fan. But what do I know? I'm just a fan. Um, you know, um, I appreciate the numbers that these players are putting up, man. I think they hit, I think 40th or something, however many person that hit 40 points a different. Like you've never had that in a season. That many 40-point scorers. So all across the board, scoring is through the roof as far as individuals. Um, but on the team fronts, we still got meaningful games to play. Teams still fighting for whatever they're trying to get in. They're trying to get in to playoff form. I did lose. I ain't gonna say I lost respect, but I did lose a little bit of um, flair for my man out there for the Bucks, Giannis. Man, I did. Like poor choice chasing triple doubles and stuff like that. Like, I talked about it before, but I had time to think about it. And this is what I thought about. Why would you do something like that? Why would you chase a triple double when, your team already won the game, and then Giannis with the Sacramento Kings, they didn't like the way he was dribbling the ball, and it's maybe some things are just funny. In my mind, this is what I heard when the Kings start complaining about the way that he dribbled the ball. Is man, we've been losing for so long. We finally starting to win a little bit. We don't need nobody coming to show us up, the showboat, or this, that, whatever. When we trying to get our stuff together. I mean, that's what I heard. It's like, man, get over it. Get over it. Let the man dribble the clock out. I mean, if you don't like the way he dribbled the ball, then foul him or whatever. Um, but the game's over. So it's like you conceded. You ain't fouling. You ain't sit up to the free throw line and all this other stuff. So you conceded victory. So what difference does it make how the man dribbles the ball? Some things that come up are ridiculous. And I think I watched a little portion of Undisputed go back and forth over something that silly. Man, it's not that crucial. Sacramento Kings, in my opinion, I think y'all need to just play ball, man. Y'all playing well. Y'all second in the West. Probably going to make it out of the first round. Or may not. It depends on who that seventh seed, who y'all end up playing. If y'all don't overtake the Nuggets or whatever, but it's good basketball. And I'm gonna take a moment. I'm bringing y'all this show from Columbus, Ohio, and I've been on these. I know I've been on these things about boxing and all this talk about fighters and all that. Pacquiao saying he want to come back. He 44 years old. Now, ain't that reminiscent of George Foreman that I was talking about last week? Ain't that reminiscent of Julio Cesar Chavez, who I forgot to mention last week when I was talking about one of my best boxers, one of my favorite boxers, and the guy fought a long time, but who many fights? Julio fought so many fights, it was ridiculous. He fought forever. But I like Julio. I think he's one of the, like one of the legends of boxing. Not everybody is every no, I just can't do it. I'm just not one of those to give everybody the greatness title. But he was a true legend. Fought a lot of fights. In order to fight over 100 and something fights, you got to be in pristine condition. And I remember when he fought. I remember when Julio Cesar Chavez fought De La Hoya, and De La Hoya really didn't want to beat him up too bad, but he had to do what he had to do. It's sort of like. It's sort of like when Holmes fought Ali. He really didn't want to beat the man up real bad, but you in the ring, you got to do what you got to do. But it's a lot of great fighters. It's a lot of great past fighters who put on shows. There was a lot of great fights, and when I was speaking of that, I happened to see a replay of a fight today, which was the second fight between Sugar Ray Leonard and who's one of my favorite fighters, and Tommy the Hitman Hearns. Man, they 8 years later, so they fought like 1989 in the second fight, and I'm just a kid, so I was just a kid when that happened, but at the same time, just watching, and wondering, are we ever gonna get back to those times like that? That's why I harp on boxing. Are we ever gonna get back to those times where both fighters came in, ain't no ducking, ain't no whatever, like fighting the best, but here we are, two that were the best, still fighting to be the best, and they going toe to toe. Like they fought one time. Leonard won the first one, in case y'all didn't know, and then the second one, Hearns won with a split decision. But Hearns, uh, but which Hearns knocked Leonard down twice in that fight. Two knockdowns in the fight. You would say Hearns should have ran away with it, but no. You have to see the fight for yourself to see that Sugar Ray really put on a show, and the power punches that both men were throwing were unbelievable for their size. So it's for me, it's about the legends sometimes. Like I didn't mean to say it's a lot of great fighters. I meant to say it's been a lot of great fights with some legendary fights, some great fights with legendary fighters that'll always be remembered. For putting on shows outside of the clown stuff that we've seen in some fights. And I remember this fighter. I know he got knocked out after a while, but it's been a while. Prince Nasser Hameen, I can't remember. I'm probably messing up the guy's name, but he was such a showboat. He come in, he dancing, he turning flips, sort of like Camacho Jr. or whatever. Come in, showboat, and all this stuff, and and he was winning fights for a while. So that's really the dancing and stuff is really impressive. And then he gets in there against a worthy opponent and gets knocked out. It's over. No more showboating. The show is gone. Um, which is kind of crazy, and like how you. It's one thing to lose, but how you lose and let somebody just change your whole style up. Now you ain't gonna even dance when you come to the ring, you know. You know. But in all seriousness, though, bring boxing back, man. Bring the greatness back. I'm gonna harp on that every chance I get because I miss watching perennial fights. I miss pay-per-views that were really worth the money. I miss the cards. Like the main events are great, but the undercards where the fighters bring it. I miss that whole element of just great competition. Not just watching it in movies like Creed or whatever, man. You know, but the level of competition they're trying to get back there, but we'll see what happens. But as far as Pacquiao coming back, who knows what he's gonna have, man? I don't think I think is it a money grab or is it really just love for the sport? Um, because Pacquiao has a name that can bring some good fortune, could put money in people's pockets. So but it would be interesting if anybody takes a fight with Pacquiao and see if it's any worth anything after being away from boxing. Basically like running the country and then come back and want to box. I mean, I don't understand. You know, I don't understand some decisions sometimes, but it ain't for me to understand. Like I said, I'm all for it. If that's what you feel you got, and you still feel like you got some in the tank, then hey, let's go. But remember when Foreman came back in his 40s, he was no joke. He was no joke. I mean, he put on a great fight against Holyfield, great fights against Shannon Briggs. I mean, the list goes on. I mean, remember when Foreman came back, Foreman was ready, man. He was the real deal. He wasn't joking. Even though Yvette known as the real deal Holyfield, Foreman was the real deal when he came back. Like, maybe it was all that extra size or whatever, but them slow punches, I know they could hurt. And then, on the heavyweight level, any punch can knock you out on the heavyweight level. But before I wrap this show up, let me remind you again of the 20% off promotion. Use Lucky 20 on for the Nerd Focus. That's Lucky 20 to get 20% off if you buy two or more. Nerd Focus, the energy drink, get your brain right and your game tight. Um, Another shout out, Fancy Lips Cosmetics, organic cosmetics and makeup supplies. Hit up fancylips.com. Also check out Fam Brand. Great fam.brand for the latest clothing. And oh yeah, while I'm doing shout outs, special shout out Women History Week. I named a lot of women before earlier on this month, last week on, but special shout out in women's history as far as sports wise. Um, I'm gonna take it to Diana Taurasi. Been a huge fan, and for me, historic moment. Being a part of those UConn Husky great teams, and then playing for the Phoenix franchise in the pros in the WNBA, but jump shot, crossover, solid player. One for me, one of the best I ever seen, especially on a collegiate level. UConn was running through teams when she was there. So for me, the special shout out goes to Diana Taurasi, man. Phoenix Mercury right now, up there in age for the young people. I know her time's almost over. The game now belongs to Asia, the Aces, and stuff like that. The game transitioned to Brianna Stewart's world and stuff like that. But Diana Taurasi was one of the best I ever seen play outside of, me being from Houston. I've mentioned the great ones that I saw on the women's basketball court, as far as those that started it. Bring back the Houston Comets, by the way. Houston Comets was dominating. Houston Comets, that should be right there. That's another history moment right there for those that don't know. The Houston Comets dominated the WNBA from its inauguration on for quite a few years. Like they won like four championships or something. They were winning them. It was Cheryl Swoops, Cynthia Cooper, Tina Thompson. I mean, they had some ballers on that squad. Rest in peace to, I think her name was Peugeot. I can't remember how to say her name, but she died of cancer. But she was a part of those championship runs. Great, I mean, great team. So I mean, they couldn't even stop balling. In between giving birth to kids and stuff like that, they were still balling. The Houston Comets dominated. Coach was I want to say Van Chancellor or something like that. Like had a good squad. They won. Like I said, they won all those championships, but it wasn't really, like bring back the Houston Comets. That's H Town, bring back a squad. And speaking of H Town, the Final Four is going to be in H Town this year. So I'll probably be home for the Final Four, see what's going on. Diehard fan. Hopefully the Cougars will be in the Final Four. That'll be something. That'll set the city. That'll set the city ablaze right there. That'll have the city on fire if they are. I'm bringing y'all this show. This is going to be my last show in Columbus, Ohio. Like I said, I'm getting out of here tonight. But before I wrap up the show, on a serious tip, as far as life right now, man, you have to pay attention. Mental health is affecting a lot of different people, and then you still got a lot of hate going on. And when I say hate going on, in regards to the Final Four, if y'all haven't heard, Brandon Miller for the Alabama Crimson Tide, who hasn't been charged with a crime, but this young man's life has been threatened to the point that for the Final Four, he has to have his own armed security guard. Let that sink in, people. He was found, not to be. He was found not to be culpable, and in the incident that happened, no charges were filed against him, but he's still receiving hate mail, man. He's still being hated on to that point that he getting death threats. Not just hate mail, he getting death threats. So, we have to be careful in this world. You have to watch yourself, but for this young man to have armed security, it's crazy. It's maybe that's enough said right there. Maybe I don't need to say any more about that. But it's mind-boggling to me why things like that happen. It has me at a loss for words. I'm stammering over here because as I let that sink in, the more I think about it, the more it's like, man, to have to hire armed security because you get death threats, and you weren't even charged with a crime. I mean, life goes on. To those that whoever made the death threats, man, let the young man live, let the young man ball. Like I said, it's a way to handle things. The law didn't find him culpable, so what are you so mad about? An investigation was done. It was found to be nothing there. So, what's the problem? And with this last minute of the show, real quick. Going through highlights and stuff like that, I was watching these Barry Sanders highlights, and it reminded me of last week when I was talking about how running backs are falling off and they're not as valuable as they once were. If you don't believe me, look up the Barry Sanders highlights, people. Check those out. Like some of the moves, I've never seen anything like it. And that adds another element to GOAT conversations and stuff like that. In my eyes, I already said it. Barry Sanders was the best running back to ever run the rock. Walter Payton is up there on that list. Emmett has all the Super Bowl titles, has the record but longevity doesn't make you better, man. Watch the Barry Sanders highlights and the way, the jukes, the cuts. Oh man, the speed, the agility. I mean, everything that you ever seen. And my question is, before I leave, since I like to stimulate people's mind, will we ever see another player that dynamic, or that shifty, or able to move like that? Well, that's my time, people. Go today. Sorry, it was a rough start to get it going, but now that it's going, I hope to catch y'all next week. Uh, Everybody enjoy your day. Thanks for Sports for America for putting me on. It's the People's Coach, yours truly, Cornelius Cole. Next week, 8 p.m.